So, this is the first live streaming for a long time. It's just after that I premiered my new program on cost management within projects. This is a series in which I will show how we handle costs and budget in projects. And for this, there will be a complete series of videos. Some are already existing, some are going to come. Actually, the one that I presented is to present you the flow when you have to start a project and you see all the flow concerning costs and budget. And this goes from the starting point of a project where you start by defining what you want to do in the project. As you see on the diagram behind me, it's on my left side that you see this. And one key point into this is the scope definition. We'll never say enough that once you really know, once you know to the details what you have to do and to create and what you have to realize into a project, this will help everything, starting with costs estimations. Cost estimations, there are several methods that you can use. I have already videos that will help you, first of all, an initiation about cost estimation, what it is, how to do it, and then a second video entitled Steps for Cost Estimation that will help you understand through which steps you have to go to do cost estimations. And then comes a third video that will explain you what are the kind of estimation methods you can use. Once this is done, you have all the elements, and this will be defined in what we call the basis of estimates. It's a set of documents where you've done your estimation work. With those documents, now, once we know how much it's going to cost, it's a good habit to add what is in yellow in my diagram, or some reserves, or some margins. These are called contingency reserves, and we will see this in a video how to go about this. So it means now you have the costs, you are ready to go for the budget, and you can start to prepare your budget. A budget will also contain another kind of reserve, which is called management reserve. Once all this is set, you are ready to go for the approval. And you will get the approval. And one point that is important that we seldom see as a project manager, it's the securing of the funding. Meaning that once a project is approved, we won't get an amount equivalent to the project immediately at the start. This will come gradually, following steps according to the amount that are needed. It can be on a monthly basis. There are companies where it's depending on the bills that they receive, so they pay monthly the bills that they receive. So with all that, it's the way a project is handled for the budget and for the costs. And now comes a really important part, which is the tracking of the project and controlling of the project. And here we are interested in what is controlling of the costs of the project. This is now done on what is called a baseline. A baseline is a reference. It's the budget that we've defined in a chronological order. With this, we will be able to say at what time, which spending, which cost we should have. And of course, we will compare this to the reality of the cost, the actual costs we have in the project, and we will compare the two. That controlling will show us whether the project is going in a good condition, or there are some situations where the project manager needs to be concerned, and also maybe the stakeholders, and intervene, because one project could all of a sudden cost more because it's lasting longer, because there are difficulties into the project. Normally, you should have reserves that are the contingency reserves that should cover this. But of course, as we know, there are many unexpected things that can happen. So with this, we are using what we call variances, and we base this on the earned value. So there are planned further coming videos on this subject of, first of all, tracking, then earned value, the variances, and the controlling method. And this is one part where there are a few calculation indexes that we'll use to have information about how the project, cost-wise of course, is performing. Now, if as a project manager you aren't in charge of the budget, you aren't in charge of the costs, this can happen, and happened to me several times, where the bills are going to a line manager. I just have to approve, to say yes, the work was done. Yes, the equipment was delivered. But it's a line manager, like a department manager, that will do all the accounting and cost follow-up of the project. So, with this, I represented the payments. You need to show in some way when you will need liquidities, when you will need cash flow into the project. Of course, this is if you are in charge of the costs in this project. If you aren't in charge of the costs in the project, there is one important thing that I would like you to notice here. It's that you cannot be accountable on the cost performances of this project. This has to go to the person in charge of controlling the costs. In the case that I described earlier, this is, for example, the department manager. It can be on the user sides. With that, we see the way that we handle costs. To add on this, I would like to say that what I'm going to do in that series of videos is really useful for you as a project manager if you want to review, enhance those knowledges concerning costs, but it is also important if you are preparing a certifications. But because, as you noticed, I have defined here inside some of the processes that are defined in the project management book of knowledges, the PM book. So following those tutorials will bring you a theoretical background, which is equivalent to what you need to have for the PMP or CAPM. And also, I have joined to this several videos which are oriented on practical situation that I do cost management with MS Project, the Microsoft project tool. For this, I have many videos on this subject, but in the links in the description of this video, you will find other videos on these subjects and other links and which video you should follow. So with that, we've seen that there is a complete construction of processes and activities that you need to follow in order to understand the different points, the different processes that are involved when you do cost management in a project. Cost management is maybe something you don't have to deal with, or it's not your day-to-day, but you should know that when you are handling cost management, then you are reporting more often to stakeholders. You are also reporting more often to your line managers. So it means these are good situations to advance in your career. So if you don't deal with cost management, those knowledges can be useful to you because you don't know what will come in the next project you are going to work on and what is the position that will be proposed to you in that next project. All what I can wish is that you can increase your knowledge, and with that you can get a better understanding, be a better person intervening, a better professional intervening in projects on things concerning costs. Now, when you finish a project, of course that regularly you have to report on costs. And the reporting on costs, I've shown on that diagrams, you see that there is a flow with the payments. There is what we call cost forecasts. Accounting departments, they don't like to receive all of a sudden a lot of bills and that you tell them you have to pay this within 30 days. They want to know in advance and to be able to forecast and prepare their money needs or cash flow needs to respect the deadlines in your project. At the end of a project, we do what is called the closing. And the closing contains also a financial part on which you will do a final financial report. It's there that we will report all the costs that we had in the project, the performances, and also indexes to show how this project has evolved cost-wise or financial-wise. We mustn't forget that a project is an investment for a company or an organization. So something is expected out of this project. In the case of an investment, it can be, for example, a new production line. You expect to be able to produce new products, for example. So there are expectations. So at the final report, it's a good thing to say what the project has brought to the company in terms of investments. For example, you can sell new products, you can produce new products, you have built new buildings and they can be sold. For example, you've built a new road or you've introduced a new process in a hospital that will improve the flow of patients, for example, or in the pharmaceutical industry, you brought a new way to improve the production of a certain medicament. So this was just an overview of all those costs, activities and processes and flow. In following videos, we will enter more into details, so feel comfortable in asking questions, making comments. This helps me a lot. It helps to orientate what I'm bringing into the channel. One point that I would like to open, it's yourself. You are also practitioner in your environment. You are maybe learning project management. You are maybe an experienced project manager, I'm really interested in being able to exchange with such professionals. You maybe have pictures of your teams, you might have pictures of your realizations, you might have pictures of your projects, you might have videos of this. All that is really interesting, and I would be happy that I could receive on the channel, I could share on the channel, I could share videos, pictures, remarks, well-being and happiness, as all of us know when we are a project manager. So this is to close my live session that followed the premiere of this diagram that you see behind me. And of course, those videos, you can just see and look at them. And for me, it's always a pleasure to meet with you, to help you increase your knowledge, exchange with you. And for now, that's it. I'm Christian from Vision 6D. You can follow on our channel. You can also follow on vision6d.com, our website. And I hope to see you soon. Have a great time. Be well. Bye-bye.